this is IKEA. This is my first YouTube video actually. I'm very excited. I'm actually doing this today because I feel like talking about something that I feel pretty strongly about. And that's the 90's. I'm a big 90's fan. I've always loved the 90's. And everyone who knows me knows I talk about the 90's so much now as we're heading into like 2011. Um, and one of the things I loved about the 90's was the television shows, and specifically on Nickelodeon. I grew up with Nickelodeon, my friends grew up with Nickelodeon. It was just something that everyone was drawn to where I grew up, and I felt they had the best shows on television for kids. They were funny, they were creative, they were realistic. I felt like they were so innovative with the types of shows they came up with that anything else now is nothing compared to what they did. Like the shows that they have now, I don't even bother to watch. I don't even know half the shows on Nickelodeon now because I just think they're ridiculous. Like the shows I do know of are iCarly, which I guess is okay, but it's still not doesn't really do anything for me. I think Jackson VP is another one. I'm not really sure about that or VP Jackson, something like that. Victorious, which I think is stupid. They just basically decided, hey, let's give this girl from Joy 101 her own television show. Um, and this other show that I've never watched, my friend said, yeah, it's back in the barnyard or something like that, where I just see a talking cow with just, what the hell's up with that? That's what I want to try to figure out. What is up with the cow talking? I don't know. To me, Nickelodeon just butchered their channel, and I feel like they have way less viewers than they did back in the 90's. And even early 2000s, they had pretty good shows. Um, I really wish that they would come back with some of those shows because I love them, and everyone else I know loved them just as much. Um, I think one of my favorite shows was Doug. Doug was just something that, like, yeah, it wasn't the most dramatic show. It was pretty simple. It had like a simple theme song in the beginning, and um, but I think what everyone most remembers about the show is the different colors people were. They weren't typical colors. Like I think Doug was the only one that had a normal color skin tone. Everyone else, like his best friend Pete, like had blue skin. Um, Roger DeVoy had green skin, and his cat was pink, and then Patty Mayonnaise was orange. Um, I just think that show was just so funny because of the skin tones, and I thought it was a great show because I felt like it represented ideas and feelings that most kids at that time were going through. I remember one episode that I watched and I liked was the one where Doug was trying to figure out whether or not to give into being a trendsetter or not. And I think that most kids at that age, when you're 12, 13, 14, you go through like a mini identity crisis trying to figure out, you know, should I give in to fit in with people or do I just remain who I am and just risk whether or not people will accept it or not? And I think Doug went through that throughout his middle school years and high school in the cartoon. And I thought it was a great, realistic portrayal of what we go through on a regular basis. Um, I mean, it wasn't the funniest show in the world, but I thought it had some great ideas, which is one of the reasons why I kept watching it. Another show I loved was Hey Arnold. I love that show. I thought that was just such a funny show about some fourth graders who basically were just badasses. You had Arnold with the little people always thought with a skirt, the long shirt, his little hat, his football head. I thought that was the best idea to do for the show. You have Gerald, the cool guy. Like he's just like so smooth and like everyone thinks he's like the coolest person ever. You have Helga G. Pataki, which everyone knows as the girl who was just mean for no reason. Like she just was like total badass to me. Like I loved her. She just didn't care and just I loved how she had like this secret identity to being like this sweet, nice person and her secret love for Arnold and I thought that in itself was just hilarious. How she just went throughout this all the seasons, basically just being secretly in love with this one guy. And I think at that age we all had that one crush that we liked and we just never told. I mean, everyone I think went through that. When you're like in the fourth grade, fifth grade, or third grade, Even like you like someone, you'd never actually say, "Oh, I like you." You actually say, "Hey, I'm gonna be mean to you today." And I love that they portrayed that in a cartoon. And just the scenarios that they got themselves in, like the one where they were downtown as Spruce, I thought was hilarious. Um, Arnold's grandparents were a crackerjack to me. Yes, it is a crackerjack. They were hilarious. The fact that his grandmother had amnesia like every other day, and his grandfather was like the strongest person to mankind. He looked like he could like bench press like 500 pounds. Um, I just thought it was just every episode I watched was just funny because it wasn't your typical fourth grader, but I think it was definitely a great representation of how some of us may have wanted to be like and wanted our school to be like. Um, Another show that I actually loved was Keenan and Kel. Keenan and Kel were the funniest duo in comedy, I think, on Nickelodeon. I know they have Drake and Josh, which I love. I think Drake and Josh is a great show. It's a different version of Keenan and Kel to me, though. And you can't beat the original. Keenan and Kel was funny. They just got themselves into trouble, and I think everyone knows Keenan and Kel for Kel's famous line as he loved orange soda. I don't know anyone who doesn't know that line. I think that was the best line that they could have given Kel to have throughout the entire show. Um, and Keenan was just a sweetheart, secretly. Like I thought Keenan was adorable. He was just so nice, and he was a bit mischievous. He liked to get himself into trouble a bit though, and Kel just wound up in trouble not even realizing it. I really missed that show, and I cried the last episode. I was really sad when they ended it because I thought it was just such a. I don't think it was really so much realistic to our lives, but I just thought it was great humor. Like the stuff that they like joked about was actually funny. Unlike today, where some of the stuff that on TV shows, other people are laughing hysterically, and I'm just kind of like, it's not funny at all. Um, Another one, which is kind of like Keenan and Kel, which actually where Keenan and Kel got their first start from was All That. Oh my god, the theme song for All That came on, and you couldn't help but to just dance to it. You're just like, oh. I love that show, the original, not the like new one that they came out with in like 2001. No, the very original. Like the first like 3 seasons, maybe 4 even. I'll take. Were exceptionally funny. Like it was like Saturday Night Live to me for kids. Like the sketches that they did were just so humorous. You would be laughing from beginning to end. I think one of my favorite sketches that they did was the Repairman. I love that one. I love the Axe Amanda. I thought that was funny. Um, and a bunch of other ones. I think that was one of the best skit shows that was all ever on Nickelodeon. And there has never been anyone like that to do it. And the new version of All That sucked horribly. They were just like spinning off versions of the original ones, and it just wasn't as funny. Horrible, horrible, horrible. I miss you, All That. Please come back. Come back. Just one more season. And the last show I want to talk about is one that everyone knows, everyone loves. You each have your own character that you like. Was the Rugrats. Now I couldn't end this video without talking about the Rugrats because the Rugrats was just so creative and different. I mean, you have a show with talking babies, with a screwdriver in his diaper, and just the fact that everything they just got into so much trouble. Like just not even trouble, they never got yelled at really, but they just got into so much stuff, and you're just like, you're one. Like, how do you even know how to do this? Like, I loved it. I thought Tommy was so cute. Um, Chucky, I would just want to hold him. So, oh, because he was so cute all the time. Angelica was just a biatch all the time, and I loved it. And just everything, the whole show, everything about the show was great. There was not one single bad thing about the show, not to me, except when they made it into an adult show when they did it all grown up. I didn't really like that show. It was alright. It was okay. Could have been better. But the original Rugrats it just was phenomenal. I don't even know. I can't even say much more about it. It was just that great of a show. So yeah, there you go. There are a few about 5 shows that I just gave off that I really really like. And I really wish that they would bring back better shows from the 90s into the 2000s, because it's just a shame that we have this horrible television now. Nickelodeon isn't the only one. Disney Channel as well. I could go on a whole rant about Disney Channel shows, but I won't get into that right now. But Nickelodeon, the old Nickelodeon was amazing, and I have not yet met a single person from my generation who says that today's generation is better than ours. Because it's not. We just beat you guys. It's okay. I feel bad for this generation because they don't know what real television is, but that's okay because I will always have memories of the 90s as I grow older. So, thanks for listening, guys, and I hope that you guys agree with me. And feel free to comment on any other shows that from the 90s that you enjoyed as well. So, thanks a lot. Bye.